Okay, so good day. Thank you for joining us for another Battle of the Towns. Today we have Corey, who is going to be defending her position that Old Saybrook is the best town around, and Alan is going to be defending his position of Essex being the best town around. So I'm going to let Corey go first. She's going to give a quick synopsis of why she picked Old Saybrook. Then Alan will go, and then we're going to give 3 points per town. And you, as the viewing audience, will be able to determine which you think is the best city in Connecticut. So, Corey, take it away.
So both Old Saybrook and Essex are neighboring towns, and both are charming and quaint. Old Saybrook's a little bit bigger than Essex, but I have a few reasons why I think it's superior that I will share.
Okay. Alan, let's hear from you.
It is. It's actually double the size of Essex. It's like 21 square miles, and mine's only 11. But your population isn't much larger. It's like 10,000. Mine's like 6,000 something. But
Right.
I will say it's my absolute favorite town in the entire state of Connecticut. So we'll get to that in a second. But you can go with your first point.
So, interestingly enough, Alan has a list of, what is it, 4 or 5 towns?
It's about 4.
4 towns that you would choose to live in if given all of your options.
Someone just handed $2 million and said you could live where? Yes.
And Essex is one of those very few towns on your list. So let's. I think this is going to be a good debate. Corey, what's your first point?
My first reason is for the Kate Theater, which is named after Katharine Hepburn. It's a cultural arts center. What? Why are you laughing?
I didn't say anything.
Katharine Hepburn and Alan have a great relationship.
Okay, yeah, because Joe laughed when I said that. So
Wrong Hepburn.
Oh, wrong. Oh, Audrey Hepburn. Okay, never mind.
Okay, it's a cultural arts center, which is nonprofit. It's in a historic building on Main Street, and the theater actually hosts a small museum that honors Katharine Hepburn, who's Old Saybrook's most celebrated past resident. And they have operas, they have musicals, and they average about 20 performances a month, over 240 for the year. And one cool thing about it is they allow children every season to participate that are interested in the performing arts to take part in a play, which I thought was pretty cool. That's my first reason.
Okay, Alan.
All right. I like theaters a lot. But I also like inns and taverns, and the oldest tavern in the United States, 1775, the Griswold Inn, was actually originally opened as the Bushnell Tavern, and in fact, it's section of Essex, that part of Main Street is the one of the only towns in the United States to be invaded by a foreign power ever in U.S. history. Actually, in 1814, that took place, and they marched themselves right up the street and went straight into that tavern and took over the town for a period of several days. And the reason for that is the fort at Old Saybrook was left unattended that evening. So I think Essex actually did pretty well, but if it had been for Old Saybrook doing their job, then that never would have taken place.
Okay, so the verdict, I'll have to go with Alan on this one because I love the Griswold Inn. Do they still do the dueling pianos? They had last time I was there, they had a piano player. I think they had dueling pianos that you could go and he knew every single song in the world. And
they did that up until last year. They may do that again. The last time I was in there was just a few weeks ago, and the main bar, which has been there since, from the original structure, with this really cool leather ceiling, and you can see actually the burn marks from a fire that took place in the mid 1800s. That bar has been completely shut down, basically, and you can just sort of walk through and look at it, but due to coronavirus, they're not really allowing much going on there right now. I think that'll probably change next year, but it's changed hands a few times over the years, but it's still the Griswold Inn, just as it's been when I was knee-high to a grasshopper the first time I ever walked in there.
Very nice. Okay, Alan, we'll have you go next with your second topic.
Okay, there's several villages in Essex. It was split into Essex proper, Centerbrook, and Ivoryton. And very important, Essex was a shipping center, and it was also a shipbuilding area in the 17 and 1800s. And as that sort of started to die down, Ivoryton became the big ticket. And there's a whole street full of Victorian houses that were all built in the early 1800s because they had two of the largest ivory production centers in the United States. In that town. Centerbrook is a nice little sleepy community. It also had some shipping in that area. But I really do think the main part of Essex, that main street, is really the jewel of the town. Just a wonderful place to park your car and walk down the street. You won't see, you will. There is a beautiful main street in Old Saybrook, but the majority of those buildings on the main street were burned down somewhere in the last century or so, and were rebuilt. And interestingly, that theater is actually one of the few things that kind of stuck around after that. So it's a very interesting place, but I still think quaint wise, Essex definitely wins.
Okay, Corey.
Okay, the second reason is the shopping. Old Saybrook is known to have fabulous shops. They actually have triple the amount of boutiques and retailers that Essex has. And just like Alan said, Old Saybrook's Main Street has most of them on that main street. Old Saybrook Country Barn at one end of Main Street is my absolute favorite store in the entire state of Connecticut for home decor. It's a destination in itself. It's absolutely beautiful. But again, it has triple the amount of boutiques there. They have easy parking all the way up and down either side of the street, wide sidewalks, lots of fun places to wander in and out. And also something that Old Saybrook has as far as shopping that Essex lacks are the big retailers, such as Walmart, Home Goods, Marshalls, Stop and Shop. Essex doesn't have those convenient locations. That's my second pick.
For this point, I'm going to go with Corey only because every time I go up to Essex to show a house and it's on Main Street, there's 3 different addresses for the same number Main Street, and it gets confusing as all heck, and I always get lost. So I got to go with Corey for the better Main Street and better shopping. Okay, third point, Corey.
My third reason is Harvey Beach, which is a hidden gem. It's a public beach. It's known for its white sand, and you can fish there, you can boat there, you can swim there. And one cool thing about it is there's a bike path that runs parallel to the beach. So you can ride your bike and take in the beautiful scenery, which is pretty cool, of the sound. And that's my third reason.
Okay, Alan.
So you're definitely right. There are some beautiful views of the ocean in Old Saybrook. Wonderful views, in fact. Only problem is 98% of those roads are private roads, and roads that you are not really allowed to or welcome to drive down. There's very few beaches that you can get to that aren't specifically for the town residents, and you really won't.
Harvey Beach is a public beach.
You really won't. Well, yeah, we could all go down to Madison and go to the big public beach, I think, perhaps, but I still think that Old Saybrook, if you want to dump $2.2 million on a house by the water, it's a great place to be. If you want to have a beautiful historic home, Essex is the place to be. You want a place where you're not even 7 minutes from those exact shopping centers that Corey was talking about, then live in Essex, because you can live in Essex for cheaper. It's quieter. It's a beautiful place. And you can get down to where those shopping stores are without having to have them right next door to you and not have 95 dump right out into your town. Definitely, and I've noticed most interstate highways, when they come very close to a town, the area closest to the interstate highway is not as nice as you would find the center of the town to be. In this particular case, it's true. Route 9 goes right up to Essex. And basically the entire town looks like an adorable little sleepy bedroom community with historic houses and houses built as late as 1980s. In Old Saybrook, when you first get off the highway, what you see is industrial parks and some not particularly nice looking properties. But when you get down towards the water, it's a lot nicer. So honestly, I really can't pick between the two. I'd say Essex is still my favorite town in the entire state of Connecticut. But you know, if you're going to buy a piece of property, I'd say definitely in those two towns, Westbrook nearby, or even across the river in Lyme or Old Lyme.
Okay, so all three very interesting topics and very compelling reasons for why Alan and Corey both think their town is the best. So we're going to leave it up to you, the viewing audience. Give your votes on YouTube, on Instagram, Facebook. Let us know what you think. Who won? Who had the best battle of the towns? Either Corey with Old Saybrook or Alan with Essex. And stay tuned until next week when we're going to do another competition of two towns. Have a great weekend.